Hey
everybody, how's it going? We got Evan, Willey, Paul, Jensen, and me. We just decided we're going to get together and record a video after a couple failed attempts at doing a Facebook Live and an Instagram Live to get all three of us together, trying to get the rest of the guys, but it's a little busy trying to pull all of us together. We just thought we'd record this and have a little chat about what we've been up to. So, Paul, what have we been doing? You want to share a little bit?
We've been making a record.
Yeah.
Finally.
Learning how to record stuff.
Yeah, we've been making a record, learning how to record remotely and COVID safely and in different states, in different towns, and remembering cool riffs and cool tracks that we used to play back in, let's say 1998, 99, 2000.
Yeah, with very little recording that we did. I mean, there was some home video stuff that we have that just the audio is awful. So that's what we have to go on to try to remember some of these old songs. And it's just been fun to try to, and a practice recording that was actually kind of decent, but still trying to piece together like what we were actually doing to, put a stamp on it and send it out. We never did that.
I got to give Josh some mad credit though, because I think he has an elephant brain where he remembers everything. Because a lot of these things, I would say at least a third, if not more, were initiated by him saying, "Remember this one?" and just laying it down, whether it was what we ended up taking or not. But at least the foundation was there. And then Jay. I think, looking at a lot of the video stuff and then even just remembering stuff. So maybe you have somewhat of an elephant brain as well. Yeah, man, it's weird to play these songs so many years later, but really still enjoy them. And I really do think they're great tunes. So they sound so much better now than I remember them sounding.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think that was part of the challenge is when we started this, we had ideas about, well, what songs should we record? And initially the list was very small because it was kind of like, well, what do you remember? But Josh definitely came in with a lot of like, hey, what about this one? Here's how it goes, So that was pretty cool. And then again, like you said, digging through those VHS tapes and just kind of piecing together little bits from horrible audio and trying to recreate some of these songs. I've had a blast. It's been really fun. And actually it's been really challenging because a lot of these songs, especially when it came time to sit down and track them, I had to put myself back into my 21-year-old brain and play way faster than I do now and play a lot more aggressively. Just to be able to put the tracks down, and that has been really fun. That's been really a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, I remember not enjoying some of the parts that I played were I just felt like, well, I'm just gonna play this because it works, but not really liking it. But now, 20 something years later, having more experience, being able to say, okay, maybe I'll try this here, and so that's been great to take some of those memories of playing things that I wasn't enjoying. I mean, I thought the songs were great, the song structures. It was just more of my own capabilities that I felt like were not quite there, and but now much more, I guess, confident in whatever I'm going to put out, I'm happy with. So that's been making it so much more enjoyable.
Well, I think that's kind of the magic of recording too, because when you're playing live and you have moments, like if you mess something up when you're playing live, it's there and it's gone. But when you're recording, that's your opportunity to really like lock it in and make it what you want. And this kind of goes back to a discussion we were having earlier today, Evan. When you're doing your own tracking in your own home studio, you get as many at bats as you want to get it exactly how you want. And I've really enjoyed that process too, because that's really what we're doing. We're laying our own tracks in our own home studio and just sending everything to Google Drive and dumping them in a bucket of files. And we've got a ton of them. And I'm just glad that it's stayed fairly organized. And
that's you guys.
It's really went well.
I think we should have named the album Bucket of Fun.
Yeah.
Bucket of Fun. But yeah, not, you know, being in the studio and not feeling like I'm wasting somebody else's time with like not being able to really just make this riff happen, you know, whereas I'm just here and just staying up too late, you know. But not wasting other people's time, just kind of takes that burden off, you know.
Jay, what has been your favorite song to track so far? Oh, actually, you're all done. So what has been your favorite song to track?
Did we lose him?
No, sorry, you guys were frozen for a second. Did you say something?
Yeah, I said, seeing as you're done recording, what has been your favorite song to track? And why?
Okay, probably the last song that I just finished tracking, which was one of the first ones I attempted. And it chewed me up and spit me out. I think it's something at like 200 BPM. So it's really fast. And my first couple attempts at tracking that song, I left those like sessions that night feeling like, what have I done? Can I do this? But after like going in and tracking some of the other songs and finally coming back around to that last one, which I think the working title, we've just called The Riffer, because the reality is a lot of these songs.
Matt just named it. Remember, he named it, what is it?
Tilting at Windmills.
Tilting at Windmills, yeah.
Yep.
So, and
I'm looking forward to hearing the lyrics for that.
Yeah, no
kidding. I mean, that's one of the fun parts about this too. I mean, there's a handful of these songs that came out of a period where we wrote so fast. The songs never even really got named. We actually just named them Song 1, Song 2, Song 4.
Song.
Yep.
Songs that we played maybe once or twice at a show, but never maybe established it as an actual, hey, let's put this on the bill every time.
Yeah, exactly. And it turns out, you know, I think those were some of the funnest songs. And I don't know, in my opinion, some of the best stuff we wrote was right towards the end. That all happened so quickly before, you know, we all kind of moved on. But yeah, I'd say that's probably my favorite, The Riffer.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun too to track. Yeah, so fast.
I like what you did today with that, by the way. It sounds amazing. So kudos to you, mister.
What about you?
What is your favorite, Evan?
Oh,
well, Jay was asking you.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I interrupt? I apologize.
That's okay.
I am a Pink Motorhome fan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is about that song. It almost gives me some. I remember this. Okay, so I remember Jay. You had this white van. We would travel to places. So, and this was a little after Rukus, or maybe during Rukus, or like around the transition time. But we would travel and go play shows. But I remember listening to the Shiner like it was going out of style, and for whatever crazy reason, the beginning of that song and how that song starts with one guitar starting, then the bass line coming in, and then the other guitar coming in, and it's like this whole monstrosity, like ready to blow your face off. I love it.
Yeah,
I love that about that song.
Definitely,
and that's like a Shiner-ish thing.
I think so too, man. That's one of my favorite songs, and I think the reason why is it's got the most. It's more structured than a lot of the other songs, and it keeps moving and it's more structured. It's cool. It's definitely different. I like it.
All right, Evan, Your turn.
Okay. Muzzle was a great one, even though I mean, I don't have the slap and pop intro. Maybe not. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Maybe that'll show up. I don't know. I mean, it's not a high percentage of probability.
You don't like slapping bass anymore?
No, I don't. But that song in general just really hits hard and has that great middle part too, that just, it's kind of like being in outer space, it just it really feels like Evanland. And
you started
a lot
that
of
song, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know if I
either you started that song with the
initially. Yeah, I don't remember how the song itself originally got its genesis, but yeah, eventually I would open it with the slap and pop thing that I never could really break out of that one rhythm. So that's why I really didn't continue to try to do that sort of thing. But yeah, that one's been fun. So many of them have been fun because I know I look back on this and I mean, I remember at the time just feeling like these are awesome songs. These are like just feeling so lucky to be involved with you guys, and where I could have stuff to say and it was taken seriously, and the stuff you guys were putting out was blowing my mind. So I mean, it was just a real good symbiotic experience for someone who felt like I was still just figuring out how to work this new appendage. A bass guitar just was like something that was meant to be, but wasn't a part of the first almost 20 years of my life, and so yeah, that was it's still just I'm still in awe of how this whole thing kind of transpired.
Mm-hmm. So Evan, I'm going to ask you the same question. What is one moment in the Rukus history that really sticks out to you as being like this point where you were like, wow, I really enjoy this?
I mean, it was so early. It was before either of you two. It was like the moment, because I'd gotten a drum set and a right-handed guitar early in life, in my early teens, and it just didn't click. And then even tried a left-handed guitar and it just didn't click. But there was like a party and there was a right-handed bass. I just flipped it upside down, and there was drums there, and all of a sudden he and I are just jamming. Like even that moment, which was like some of the founding moments of Rukus, it still holds up as like some of the favorite things. But I mean, being able to jump from show to show.
So are you saying like just the first time when you were able to actually play with another individual and just like jam out some music and felt like it was establishing something? Is that what you're saying? That was the pivotal point.
Yep. And then we just had Matt. It was just me and Russ and Matt for a while in my own bedroom at my house.
Was Matt playing instruments at the time?
No, he brought a karaoke machine over to my house. Nice. And I don't even remember what amp I was using, but like after this party, I must have went out like as soon as I possibly could and bought the cheapest bass I could find, and I had an old drum set still, pieces of a drum set that Russ would play. And so it was just the three of us in my bedroom, just, 3-note bangers, and Matt going full pissed off, screaming, and man, we were on fire, and we just, I don't even want to call them songs. They were just like these moments, these like, just our bowels exposed, we all of a sudden had some songs, and then Nate. I mean, all those moments are still like, they still are like they were yesterday, you know. And I remember watching Jay though at his band came and played at Horizons, the high school we were all at, and Russ and Matt like grabbed me. They were like grabbing my shirt. They were like, "That's our guy," you know, like that we need him. And so yeah, then we eventually got him to join. He enjoyed it. And
what was that band, Jay?
That was a band called Betsy. That was my very first band. And we practiced an awful lot, but never played, maybe played 3 shows. And I wanted to play shows. That's what I wanted to do. But yeah, I mean,
you wanted to go make copies at Kinko's is what you wanted.
Yes. I want to make
flyers.
I wanted to make flyers. Honestly, if
what? Lost Jay.
Honestly, if what?
Yeah, lost Jay.
If Jay's in the
got to do that a lot.
Hello? Say it again. You went in time warp. Say it again.
Oh,
honestly,
I wanted to make flyers. That was the big thing. I just wanted to be in a band that was playing shows, and I wanted to make flyers. And you guys,
why did you want to make flyers?
The art. I was fascinated, and I still am, by like the art of like handmade, like Xerox flyers. I love it, and it was just cool. That's all I ever wanted to do.
What inspired you to do all the flyers that you did after the initial ones that were done? From what I'm even now understanding and learning 20-some years later, Matt did a lot of them in the beginning, or had a portion of it. But what inspired you to do that? Because I'll be honest, like one of my first interactions with you as a one-on-one, not in a band setting, but as like, hey, let's go do this, was hustling flyers and going to Kinko's and making copies, and then going out and stapling them on telephone poles, and but like I find that very interesting now, because I do a lot of design stuff on the side as well now, but like that's old school, and so like, what did you look to as guidance to do that, I guess?
Seeing flyers around town when I was too young to be able to even go to all ages shows, because I didn't have friends who drove. But whenever we'd go anywhere, like if I'd get hauled around by my parents, seeing flyers stapled to like telephone poles, I love the art of it. And I just knew that I needed to be in a band because I wanted to be able to do that. I mean, I was fascinated with music too, but I mean, it was really the art of it. I was huge into art. And
where did you get the art? Where did you get the art for the Rukus flyers?
A lot of it came from comic books. Me and Matt would collaborate because he was super into comics. I was never into comics, but I liked the art of them. And I was always on the lookout for anything that I could like Xerox and, X-Acto knife, something cool out of. I would get stuff I would buy these magazines that there was a magazine called Juxtapose that would feature like really interesting like artists, graphic design stuff. I would pull them from all kinds of places. I used to take stuff out of coloring books, kids' coloring books. It was already simple line art that I could add to and turn them into flyers. Stuff like that, man. I just loved it. And Black Flag was a big, I read Henry Rollins has a book, I think it's Get in the Van. And there's a section in one of those books where he talks about that a lot. The band would go out and just go from one end of the town to the other and just put flyers up everywhere. And I just thought to myself, dude, if I can live in a van and just put up flyers everywhere, that's what I want to do.
Is that why you bought the van you did buy?
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember your uncle being pissed when he found out, like, you plan on putting equipment in here? Like,
yeah. Yeah.
So that was really 100% of the reason why you bought that van when you did buy the van, and you just wanted to live the van life 20 years prior than the van life that is popular nowadays.
Yeah.
But you knew that road dogging was where you wanted to be.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at the time, I thought that's what I wanted. I wanted to be the OG dirtbag lifestyle. That's just live in the van, playing a band. But not where I ended up, but totally happy. Anyways, and that's just kind of the fun of this, is kind of revisit those days. So it's pretty cool.
What's weird is actually, being that I did get lucky enough to tour, I remember feeling like I wasn't running away from anything. So it was tough. It made it tougher. Like it was almost like I could see where people who had a shitty home life and things to get away from, like, probably ended up with a lot more success in being able to endure the grueling nature of touring. But I had things at home that I wanted to participate in and be around as much as I wanted to be out. And so yeah, that obviously came later. But I just want to live in a van, that statement rung loud in my head when I was out there doing it, and it was a lot tougher than I ever expected, just because I enjoyed my home life,
Yeah.
So that was a complete shock to me. It was like, oh my God, like the people who have things to run away from are the ones that are going to do the best out here.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, I got a wife at home, and yeah, that was it. I don't know. I'm getting ahead of us at this point, but
So I remember trying out for Rukus.
I remember asking the questions.
I remember being scared shitless.
We really grilled you, didn't we?
Yeah, you guys treated me like a pile of dog shit. and I remember this. This is what I remember. I got a little bit of a heads up on some songs, so like I knew what was coming, and I thought I could like hold my own. And then you all went upstairs. And we practiced in the basement, and you left me downstairs. I'm like, those motherfuckers are going to come down here and say, get the fuck out. That's what I thought. And you guys were all serious as fuck too, which was hilarious. And
it's scary.
It is scary. It is scary to be in this situation. And
I was scared.
I was scared too, man. I didn't know who you guys were. Like, you guys at least knew each other. I was like, I'm just trying to fucking try out for this band, man.
Yep.
God damn it. Did that
you had more reason to be scared, but for sure.
But I did my best, and I'm like, you know what? If they don't like it, then I guess they don't like it. Fuck them. But that was like, to me, that sort of, and then like how you guys played sort of hard to get for a hot second.
Oh, yeah?
Oh,
we didn't remember. Just come downstairs and tell you did we not just come downstairs and say, yeah, dude, you're in?
No.
Did we told you we were going to think about it?
Yes.
Dude, we were totally pulling your leg.
Yeah. Man. And then like about 5-10 minutes later, when I'm like packing up my shit that I brought, you're like, oh, by the way, you're in a fucking band. That was hilarious to me. I look back at that. It, you know what it did to me? It made me feel good about myself. And that was like one of the first times ever that I could ever remember feeling good about something I'd done.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why, like, I never want to not be able to communicate with you guys. And because like that sort of gave me a little bit of confidence for the first time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember asking like, you know, what drummers you liked, and you named off a few, and then the thing that I remember is just like good ones. Like you were like, you know, good drummers. I was like, well, shit. Like, okay.
Yeah.
There are a lot of bad drummers out there. I am probably one of them, but anyways, but I honestly remember seeing Rukus play before I tried out for Rukus. And I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
Mm-hmm.
And I hated it. Like I did. Like I hated it because you guys were at my age doing this, what I wanted to do. And it was more of like a jealousy thing. And then somehow, you know, it worked out where we were able to join or, you know, come together in a path, right? And and man, there's some of the best moments have been like hanging out and doing fun things and just DIY in it and playing shows.
Playing shows in people's houses.
Yeah.
Oh, some of that still has never been topped, you know. But that like when you were talking about You Saw Us and you were like, what the fuck is this? I can remember playing shows, like playing bass lines I didn't like and being like, what the fuck is this? Like I went I just
Evan,
like not
Evan, I honestly felt like back then in the early stages of Rukus, you were still figuring out who you were as a bass player.
Oh hell yeah.
What you're laying down now on all of these tracks, I don't think is what you would have played 20 some years ago.
A lot of it is like, because I just was like, okay, those notes will work, but I don't like it. I'll play it. And so I did. And I mean, there was a lot of that, you know, and that now, so now, you know, I feel like I have but then what's weird is even after this whole thing, there was a lot of that same mentality. Was like, well, I could just play these notes and I'll just play these notes because they work, but I don't like it. And so, but now I feel like I have a chance to make things I like, you know, like and I don't know what's I guess the experience is what's different. So but
yeah. Cool.
I guess.
So this new release is going to be out in the fall. And you know, it's finally getting out because it should have been out 20 some years ago, but we probably were not all mature enough to do it.
No, it shouldn't.
What's that?
It's coming out at the right time.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about this new release, Mr. Willey?
It's still new. It's still new to me.
As a whole, I know you're laying bass lines for the last avoided track.
It's still new. It's still new. I mean, I'm still learning, because what it is to be a musician now is not just the 4 strings that I play, but it's the interface. It's the communication without being in the same room. So I'm still learning, and it's still new. As old as these songs are, and they laid the foundation for everything I've done since, it's still new, and that's amazing.
Have you found yourself jamming out to
That's well said.
Have I found myself jamming out to these tracks?
After like say like something got put into the top secret.
Oh, I once I see that someone has liked it or responded to it, I go back and I listen to it again and think like, okay, now I'm Matt listening to this. And and it's been that way. Like anytime I've shared music with one of you guys, I've been like, now that you've seen it, I want to listen to it again, but think like, what does Paul think?
Paul's gonna always hate it. You know that.
Well, but so yeah,
Paul is a negative Nancy.
As much as, and that's what's weird about music, you know, is you're really licensing part of yourself to this stuff to other people. Like you don't have a canvas as a painter and put a few colors on it and then be like, okay, 5 other guys, what do you got? It's still mine, you know? Right. So I'm yelling. I'm sorry. But so yeah, glass banana.
Jay, okay, we'll let you stop yelling, Evan. Jay, what do you think about this Rukus release? Like, quick thoughts.
Yeah, I've had a couple of minutes to go. Well, I've had a couple times to go through it and just listen to it in the rough, the rough mixes. And I mean, I'll say it again. I'm surprised at how well it holds up, and I'm pretty proud of it. Like personally, I think it's in a lot of ways, like you said, Ev, it's a time capsule, but at the same time, I just feel like these songs are like new again to me. So I'm really enjoying it. I hope, and at the end of the day, that's kind of all I want. If it's something I can be proud of and we can be proud of, I think that's great. But there is a big part of me that hopes that this resonates with people who maybe remember some of these songs. And I think that's a pretty cool thing to be able to go back and hear them again. And if it creates as much nostalgia for people who maybe heard some of these songs live during a pretty cool period of time, Grand Rapids in the 90s, late 90s. If it brings them back, mission accomplished. That's kind of deal. But I
think in some ways it already has. I mean, I've been amazed with the amount of response and different people that have chimed in hearing that this is happening and being like, I remember this show, or I remember this flyer, or I remember this, or you guys did this, or it's nice. And maybe now is the time we all need that, right? Like, because of all the craziness going on and just sort of going back to some form of reality, even though we were kids. And I'll say that, like, as an old guy, we were kids back then.
Yep, definitely.
To hear these songs and do these songs now again, and yeah, who knows where it'll go from here? We'll let it go.
Yep.
Well, I love you, dudes. You got anything else to add? Otherwise, I'll close up shop here, and we'll talk again soon. Maybe next time with more peoples,
more participants.
Yeah, can't always get us all on the same horn at the same time. And that's why the virtual thing has worked out well, actually, for us.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I would add is that for anybody who ends up watching this, if you have any questions or stuff you want to hear about specifically, just let us know. It'd be
share your memories.
Yeah, share your memories, or if you have questions
or anything.
Let us know.
Little watercolor memories of the way we were. No, I agree. Like, share some stories, share some thoughts. Engagement with this whole thing helps push this whole thing. Is what
we need it. We need it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, dudes. Have a good Friday.
All right.
Both. And we'll talk again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. See ya.